What up, music lovers? This is your host, Johnny D, and my co host, Draven Crow, and we're coming to you from the Garage Cast somewhere in the backwoods of Alberta. And we're here to just do some music reviews, and this is the Rockin' Music Reviews. So we'll get our night launched, and we'll see what happens. This is something we're super excited about, and we're gonna have a great night coming to you live on a Saturday, and we're gonna be covering the Sevenfold Nightmare album, something that we're definitely excited about. So um, just thought I'd pass it over to with some general thoughts, maybe about how we came up with this album, or why we decided to listen to this album this week, right? Well,
Yeah, totally.
yeah,
Here's how it all went down there, people in YouTube land. Uh, After last week's episode, it was on me to put up a couple albums. We usually do like three, and then Jody would be the person to pick out of those three. I sent him three. I wasn't feeling too comfortable with those three. I sent it back to him. I was like, "Yo," and I this was like a late stage thing. I was like, "You want to do some Sevenfold?" And you were like, "Yeah, let's get it." So Sevenfold, holy Christopher Columbus, yes sir. This is one of my favorite bands, if not one of my the favorite band. And this album in particular is a huge big. Oh man, I love this album like 10 Ways to Sunday. I can play this front to back to front, hours and hours of awesome entertainment. This one's pretty sweet. So that's how we came up with this particular selection for this week. And if I'm not mistaken, we're gonna do this album for this week's episode, and then I do believe Jody's gonna pick another Sevenfold album for next week's episode too. So this is a back-to-back Sevenfold. Yo, let's go Sevenfold. So that's how we came up with this one.
yeah. Just staying tuned for next week's for this other Sevenfold album, but yeah, I mean, I think the first time that I was able to listen to this CD was I think I actually went and grabbed it because I did own City of Evil at the time, and they had put out a new album right after critically acclaimed, and I was just like to go listen to this album, and I remember cranking it in my car, and it just being your classic Sevenfold with some punkish riffs and awesome solos. But some of the tracks are on here are like none other. I mean, like I think that there's just countless tracks that you can count on this one. But what would you say that you first heard this album, or maybe just somewhere close to the time frame of when you first started listening to this album, and like kind of some of the impacts where you're feeling when you heard it.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a twofer here for you. When I first heard this album, it was released in July 23rd of 2010. All right, and I was actually working downtown on a project, and I met this other fella, and he was like, "Hey, you want to go to this concert?" And I think it was called the Rockstar Energy Tour, if I'm not mistaken. So at this point, I don't know who Avenged Sevenfold is. I'm just going to this concert with my buddy, and there was an indoor, there was an outdoor, and all this stuff. And Avenged Sevenfold was playing indoor, and so we made it to the outdoor. Seen a couple bands. I think there was Bullet for My Valentine was playing. Geez, if I would have done a little more homework, there was another couple bands. But then later in the day, we got indoors, and there was Avenged Sevenfold, and they were touring on the Nightmare album at this particular time. This was 2010, and it was beyond my comprehension at this particular time of what I was witnessing. I was there and I seen the concert. It was amazing. I didn't know any of the songs. I didn't know nothing about it. I just knew it was pretty sweet and pretty awesome. The next time I came around, and that's the first time that me and you met, was we ended up working together at this particular job, and I had bought 2 tickets to the stage was just coming out and touring. So I had these 2 tickets, and the other guy that I had coming with me, he bailed on me. So it was actually our first day of work. I met you, and I just looked at you and I said, "Hey, this guy seems like he knows what's up with music, right?" And so I came to you and I was like, "Hey, bud, do you like Avenged Sevenfold?" And you're like, "Well, I like them pretty good, pretty good." And I was like, "Hey, man, I got these tickets, man. You want to come check out this concert?" And it was a Wednesday. I do believe it was a Wednesday. It was like midweek concert, and it was like 7 o'clock or something silly like that. And yeah, you were like, "Well, yeah, I'll have to check with the missus." And then so the day goes on, and at the end of the day, your wife said yes, or not wife at the time, but fiance. You said yeah, I can come, and we went to that concert, and that was the stage, right? That was 2017, and man, did we have a flipping ripper of a time at that concert, man! Oh my goodness! And at this point, I know Avenged Sevenfold. I'm familiar with not most of their earlier stuff, but definitely Nightmare to this, like only those 2 albums. And yeah, so why don't you tell the people what your experience was there when you went to that concert, man? That was quite the thing.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm just at work. I meet you for the first time, and we don't even know each other. And you're just like, I got these 2 tickets, man. And in my mind, I actually had a date booked with the wife to go out for dinner that night, right? And it's just totally her call, right? But she knew I liked them, so she knew that was something I really wanted to go see, and I had not seen Avenged or Bullet for My Valentine at that particular time, but I was a fan of both of them, and I was super psyched to go to that concert and totally appreciate that night. I know that night we had a connection, and we've kind of been friends ever since, and maybe we have that to thank for our friendship now. Who knows, right? I mean, there's something happened, and then you get Rockin' Music Reviews. So, moving on to what are we thinking about some of these tracks? We want to highlight some of these tracks. I know for me, like most of the album is pretty solid. I'll let you maybe come through with a couple tracks, and then maybe
Yeah,
I'll wrap up some of the tracks I'm thinking. But I think we can both agree that most of this album, or if not the whole album, is just a solid playthrough.
110%. I'm going to backtrack for 2 seconds and say that that eventful time where I had an extra ticket and we went to that concert together, and that's where our friendship grew from, and we've been friends since. Was a magical time, my friend. I'll uh, I'll never forget that. That was a crazy night and a crazy time, man. And God bless Avenged Sevenfold for bringing us together, my man. But yeah, my favorite tracks off this. I mean, dude, there's 11 tracks. Um, this is like one of like my favorite albums of all time. So there's not going to be if you wanted to break it down to what's my favorite off of this album, oh, we could have another like 3 videos off of that. Like honestly, maybe 5 or maybe 11 videos. We could do each song off of this, and I can break it down for you how much I love this. This is a this is a big one for me. So it opens with Nightmare. Nightmare is just absolutely fantastic. Like oh my goodness, what a ripper right from the start. Um, yeah, well, I guess we should probably plug in that like uh, uh, the Rev. I don't know if anybody knows this here, but Jimmy Sullivan, they call him the Rev. He was the drummer for this particular band up to this point. And if you go onto Google and you give it a little try, from what I understand, that Jimmy the Rev Sullivan wrote 60% of this album. He was the driving force of most of this album, and his creativity and his style is just absolutely it's maniacal. It's amazing, just an absolute stunner of a a lyricist, a drummer. Just the crazy offbeat stuff that he did with this album is crazy. Unfortunately, he never got to play the drums on it, and that's a sad thing. But I guess my buddy Duddy will come back to that, or Jody here will come back to that in a second. But yeah, 1 through 11, I don't care. I mean, there's so many great ones here. Victim is probably one of my favorites on this. That runs 7 and 30 minutes, or 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Just a wicked tune. Oh, God Hates Us All. We've had this conversation, me and you. Is this not the heaviest Avenged Sevenfold song you've ever heard? And we can have a couple little arguments about this. Me and you have. But God Hates Us All. Oh, what a ripper. Buried Alive. Get Out of Town. Oh my goodness, what an absolute freaking ripper. Danger. I mean, I could just list all 11 songs, and I can tell you, all the lyrics to them, all the little points in them that I love. The lyrics are amazing. We have to understand that they just lost their one of their good friends and one of the most key points of this band. Like this was like an album that was filled with I would say pain, sadness, anger that it went the way it was, and they paid no homage to him in the same way on the album. Like 60% of the album he wrote, but I mean the rest they filled in, and you can feel it in this album. It's the most real, raw emotion type of an album that you can think of. Is it a concept album? I've heard that before. No, it's not a concept album. It's well, it kind of is. I mean, maybe you could argue that, but it is a real album. That's for sure. And good Lord, this is one of my favorites. So enough of my yabbering. Let's get it back to you there, Mister. And what's your favorite tracks on this one?
I think the best three that flow together for me is Welcome to the Family, Danger Line, and Buried Alive. Those three, when they run together, those three, I'd like
Oh,
have to list them all in a row. And the whistle
yeah,
solos, everything like that. But it just wrapping up with Fiction and Save Me, that banger.
dude.
And just I was just currently listening to it on YouTube as well, just today, and there was a song they had added. I'd have to go back and maybe put it in the comment, but
It's the 12th track.
it is a 12 track, yeah. So
Yes, I've seen that.
very, very interesting, but yeah, definitely, like you said, you could have a review on each song. That's how good it is. So that's what I'll say about my favorite tracks on that, right? And like you said,
Yeah, holy.
like you said about the Rev coming and passing away, and probably wrote the drum tracks, but probably never had them recorded or some of it recorded, and they still had to make it into something, and they ended up bringing on Mike Portnier, who's the Rev's uh, favorite drummer and his big influence in his life, and probably defined some of the ways that he used to play drums. And they had him come in and lay down the tracks, and definitely he brought the Rev with him to like his style and added his own. Um, and it's that's a whole story on itself. Him coming into the band and traveling with them, doing the tour for a year, and basically quitting Dream Theater and thinking that he's in Avenged Sevenfold. And I think that they kind of made a little tweak remove and ended up telling him that he wasn't actually going to be full time in the band, which is unfortunate. I think that could have been a really, really good suit for them, but they've ended up picking the drummer of Bad Religion, which is also a pretty good drummer as well. But it's all a matter of opinion. So yeah, just a little bit of background information about that, right? So
Yeah, brother. Portney comes in and fills in for for the Rev, and that guy had some unique style and a very unique way of playing. And he comes in, fills in the tracks, and does an absolute amazing job. And God bless him for doing that. There's not too many people that can do the fills and the unique time sequences, all that the Rev did. So God bless for Mr. Portney. I do believe he went back to Dream Theater now, if I'm not mistaken. They re got him back on Dream Theater. But I just want to put a couple notes out there. Nightmare debuted at #1 in the Billboard Top 200, just to let you know. It debuted at #1 in the Billboard Top 200. Absolutely amazing. Certified gold, went platinum 3 times. As of 2016, the album sold 964,000 copies in the U.S. That was in 2016, and we're talking 2023 now. So you can imagine that number is just a way, way higher. They won Best Drummer, Best Guitarist, Best Vocalist. They won Album of the Year, all from the Golden God Awards, which is a very prestigious platform that they won all this from. So this album had it all. They lost one of their best friends, and it was a really like a period of mourning and trying to move forward with the band and stuff like that. And you can just feel it in every song here, in my particular opinion. So yeah, loving it.
That's some awesome information there. It's definitely
Good information. I didn't know that they won all the awards. I didn't know that, and that's. I mean, they should. That was a flippin' fantastic album.
I think it's definitely
So I'm gonna leave it to you here. What more do you have to? Just a couple more closing notes here.
yeah.
What do you want to say?
No, I just it's definitely, I think, is one of the underrated albums. I think if you asked I don't know, you might ask some Avenged Sevenfold fans, and maybe they wouldn't rate it that high, and maybe they would. Who knows? I know I've talked to a lot of Avenged Sevenfolds, and they often like either the newer stuff or the older stuff. And I think as it sits for us, I know there's definitely some special things for our the way we've viewed this album. That it. I think if I was gonna put it in a rating for an Avenged album rating, it's definitely high up there. It's got to be, could be one of their best albums ever. That's debatable. I know. If I was gonna rate this album out of 10, I think it would be somewhere near the high nines, maybe 9.5 or so. It's a
Really?
damn near perfect album. Something that you can put on, something you can put on and you can play from front to back, and there's no fillers in there.
There's no fillers, my man. So you're gonna rate this. Give me your final answer. What's your rating?
I'll give it a 9.6. Damn near perfect.
9.6.
Yeah.
Boom! My homie. I got some notes here, and I went back and forth about how I'm going to rate this album. I feel like if there's an album that you really connect with, and you can listen to it front and back to front, all the words to it, it connects to you, and it makes something really special inside you when you listen to it, like a time and place and all that kind of stuff. I gave this one a 9.8. I gave it the damn near the most perfect album that I can possibly put on and listen to. And that's just me personally. It's got a special place in my heart. And yeah, this is near perfect for me. There's nothing wrong with this album. It's all awesome. It's all kick-ass. It's all very, very good. So a 9.6 from you and a 9.8, that puts that at a 9.7 on an average. That's the highest rating we've had for an album thus far. But I do want to mention a couple other things here for our viewers that may not be aware. If you like Jimmy Sullivan, the Rev, he has a little side project with Sinister Gates. Sinister Gates being the guitar player for Avenged Sevenfold. If you guys want to check it out, a little band called Pinkly Smooth. They've digitally remastered this album. And if you guys want to check it out, Pinkly Smooth, really cool stuff. Very interesting stuff. If you like Avenged Sevenfold, you'll probably like this too. So check that out. Pinkly Smooth, guys. Check that one out.
Like you was saying before, I think we're gonna do a back-to-back Avenged Sevenfold album. Me picking the next one, but I know when that Nightmare
Yeah.
album, when I listened to it, when it first came out, I had it in my car. I remember, and I ended up being able to sing the whole thing, and I was whistling every guitar solo as much as best I could because I knew it that much to a T. That's how many times I'd listened to it, and so
Yes.
yeah, I know we're excited to do the next review for you guys as well. I think I'm going to give you a little heads up. I think it's either going to be City of Evil or it's going to be The Stage. So
Whoa.
keep tuned in to see which one it's going to be. And I know we're going to be excited to throw that one at you for Rockin' Music Reviews with your hosts, laying it down. And you guys, hope you have a good night. You got any final thoughts, Draven Crow?
Yeah, just a final thought. Avenged Sevenfold, one of my favorite bands. There's so many great albums to pick from, and I am super looking forward to checking this next one out that you're gonna do a review on, well, and me as well. But Avenged Sevenfold, awesome, and you guys have a great weekend. Happy Saturday. Peace.
Peace.